the Amazing Tristeon, and today I'll show you how to make a good traditional level in Super Mario Maker 2. Let's go! First of all, in order to make a great level, you need a gimmick. As you can see by scrolling through my level, the gimmick is seesaws. Next, if you want to create a good level, you should have your course theme and game style in mind. In this case, I went with New Super Mario Bros. U and the sky. I also chose no auto scroll and an average timer and no clear condition. If you're doing a traditional level, I suggest you do no clear condition unless you're doing a boss. Then you can. If you're doing a boss levels, then you can. Next up, you should actually start making the level. In your level, begin with a starting area where the player can learn about how the central mechanic works. You can go with mainly one of two styles. The styles that I went with is you can get out at any time without even touching them. Let me actually see if you can. Wait, I might be able to. I'm just seeing to make sure that what I actually said is true. Yes, this one you can get out with practically not ever using them. However, you have a power-up that could get lost, so you might have to platform over it to get the power-up and to receive the power-up. The other design you can have is better for stuff like swinging claws. An example would be an area where you can swing all you want, but in order to get out, you have to master the swinging claws first form. Next up, come with a basic area where there's actually quite a bit of danger, falling off a pit in this case, but it's still dismal compared to what it'll be eventually. You can just easily go that. In fact, you can almost run through, it's so easy. Yeah, you only need 3 jumps to clear it. You don't need any more jumps, you don't need any more skill, all you need is 3 jumps. However, it's a challenge, nevertheless, compared to the last time, it's really hard. Then you can continue on the basic mechanic for a long time, but in my level, much shorter than a normal level, less traditional, I immediately made a new mechanic. In addition to the main thing, now you have to seesaw around flying paratroopers. I also you can add your first 10 coins here probably, but more on this later. Next up, after the player gets through that section, which would normally continue for a lot more, they have the next section where they have to balance over seesaws, but this time they're on tracks. They're moving, so it's much harder this time. And there's also winged paratroopers. In this next section, the player has to platform through a narrow space as the track section is done. And they have to platform through a narrow space, and here comes the final challenge of this level. This section, you should always have a final challenge or a boss. The boss can be substituted for your final challenge. From this final challenge, you have to avoid munchers and shells as you make your way around. An example gameplay of this would be, I'm just trying to do it here. Now keep in mind this is a really short level. Most levels would be longer. And then finally you have a send-off to the main gimmick of the level, in this case the seesaws, and you platform on top of the seesaws and make it to the end. So that's the basic frame of the level, but how do you fill it? Well, first of all, you should use coins or arrows as trails to where you should go. I would do arrows for where to go and coins for where to jump normally. Next up, you should have some optional challenges called, in this case, 10 coins, 30 coins, and 50 coins. In this one, you have to balance here and then jump. And I failed that time, but you can get to it if you do pretty good. In this section, it's the same thing, but it's with tracks. Normally, they would be different, but so short that. And here we have a very interesting challenge that leads to a 10-up. but more on that later. So, then you have your challenges, or hidden reward rooms. In this case, normally you'd have a lot, but I only have 2. 1 challenge, 1 reward. In this room, all it is you hit the P switch. You can have any style. You can have it where all of the things are up for grab. You can have it so that it's much smaller and you get one thing, or you can have a complete different challenge, which will lead to the reward room. So anyway, there's that, and then it stops. And my other one, which I showcased earlier, is actually a double challenge, and by far the hardest part of this level. You could normally, just doing this, you can't, well, you could in that instance, you're not supposed to be able to hit that easily, and even if you could hit it, you have to tilt to the side in order to get inside. So you require mastery of this skill before you enter this area. And in this area, it's incredibly hard. Excuse the naked pipe, I made it really quickly. So you have to carefully platform up through the levels. And, wait, I'm still alive. And get you the 10 coin at the end. Those are my main elements. However, there are a few more extra elements of this course that I would like to mention. First of all, and last of all in this case, I have this section. This is the time section. You have to race against the clock to get the 1-up. It's actually incredibly hard. But nevertheless, it's doable, especially if you do this to make them both gone. That way, if they're both gone, I'm doing that right now because I failed the last time. When they're both gone, okay, pretend they're both gone, then that races across and you can easily platform not having to avoid the enemies. That's pretty much the main elements of the course. However, there are a few extra things I'd like to mention that I don't use that much in this course. Number 1 is screen stop. Screen scrolling stop. It's actually called screen stop. I actually forgot what it's called, but that's what it is. It stops the screen from scrolling. All that is you need blocks from the top to the bottom, like that. That's most of the tips for traditional levels. The level code is down below. However, there are many different ways you could apply this to your traditional levels, and you could have traditional levels. However, they are part of a super world. Sorry for how I said that. Super world in which you should have 2 power-ups before a checkpoint and 2 power-ups after a checkpoint. And that's not the only type of level. If you want to see more of this type of video, how to make courses in Mario, then if you want to see less courses of this, then subscribe and we'll see who wins. This is the Amazing Tristeon, signing out.